Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about AlderQuest. This is designed by Ryan Ward. The artwork is by Lawrence H. Burns, and it is published by Rock Manor Games. But before we talk about this, we just want to remind you to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Now, Ryan, AlderQuest.
Alright, this is essentially a two-player game. You can play it with 1 to 4 players, but essentially it's 2 teams, right? A 2-player game at its core. And what you're doing is there's a little bit of area control. There's kind of this Candy Crush 3-at-a-time connection kind of thing going on. There's a little bit of area control where you're trying to get all these different acorns, drop them down so that you can collect them, so you can score points. Let me do a quick overview of the 2 different boards, the 2 kind of halves of this game, and show you how those operate. Alright, this is the first board that we're going to look at here in AlderQuest. This is the matching board. We have the top of the tree over here, we have the bottom of the tree over here. Over the course of the game, we're going to be dropping on all these different runes and different tokens and things. They're going to start at the top, and they're going to drop down towards the bottom as far as they can go. At the beginning of each of the matching faces, what you're going to do is you're going to reach into the bag, and you're going to do what's called dropping a line. What that's going to do is you are going to basically go across the top of the board, and you're going to put one tile, and it's going to drop in, kind of following the rules of gravity. After that, you're going to be able to take 3 actions. They're kind of symbolized by taking these 3 cards over here and flipping them over. Now, these cards aren't actually going to be here when the actual game happens. They're going to be over on the other board that we're going to look at, but just to kind of show you what it looks like to see these kind of flipped over. So there's 4 actions that you can take over on the matching board. So the first thing you can do is you can do a swap. So you can do something like this and change the locations of 2 of those tiles. You would have to flip over one of your cards for that, but it does not cost any of your rune tokens that you start with. The next thing you can do on your turn is you can slide. So let's say we had a situation like this. You could slide that tile over, and it would drop down because of gravity. That would also cost you an action, so you try again to flip that over. The third thing you can do is you can drop another line. So if you wanted to have more tiles to work with, you can drop another 4 tiles, so that you have more tiles that you can look at, more tiles that you can kind of swap around. The 4th action you can take on your turn is to actually use the printed action on the card of your heroes over here. This particular one, it says Volley. You can reveal and drop 2 runes. If you make a rival match, eject a rival basic minion. And the minions are going to be on our other board. Basically, this is going to cost 2 of our tokens. We have to spend 2 of those, put them in the discard pile, in order to use that action, and then flip it over. So let's say we did a swap action over here, and we were able to make a 3-of-a-kind match. We would take those tiles. If they were our own tiles, one of our own factions that we had, we would collect those, and we would be able to put them into our stack over here and use them as currency in order to pay for those special abilities. However, if they are our opponent's tiles, basically it's going to go straight back into the bag, and we're going to drop a new line to replace them. So that's kind of a great way to get some of our opponent's tiles off the board, so there's less matches for them. There are some situations where you can make a line of 4 or even 5 of these tiles on the board, and when you do that, you unlock some special abilities, so that's really fun. But now we have all of our cards over here flipped over. That means that we are ready to go to the next phase. Our opponent's going to take their 3 actions on the matching board, dropping a new line beforehand, taking their actions, and then we're going to start over with the field board. Alright, here's a look at our field board. Again, we have our 3 different heroes. In between them, we have our 2 stacks of minions. Minions are the cards and characters that we're actually going to send out onto the board in order to collect our opponent's acorns. So basically the exact same thing is going to happen over here. Basically we have 3 actions. Every time we use an action, we're going to flip over one of our cards. And again, one of the actions can be using the actions that's printed on the characters themselves. Again, there's going to be some costs involved. So in order to use this particular action, you have to spend 2 of those tokens in order to use that slight ability. It says choose an ally tile and a surrounding rival tile in open space and switch them. That's kind of cool. You can kind of manipulate the board and do things, kind of make it so that you can get things easier. And once again, you're going to flip that over to show that you spent it. The next action is you can actually summon the minions out. You can summon them out. It does cost 1 of your runes in order to get them out there, and they do have to go directly in front of their pile. That's how they get on the board. You can also upgrade them. Upgrading them is free. It does cost an action, but what you're going to do is you're going to flip them over. Once you flip them over, they're going to have some kind of special ability, maybe a special way to move around the board on the backside of that card. When you do move your minions around, they're going to kind of rotate a little bit once you've used them to show that they're exhausted. The final action that you're able to take is you can draw from this Quarrel deck. You basically have these different cards that you can draw from. They're all different random abilities. This particular one says, move a rune directly to any space in the bottom row. They're talking about the matching board over here. Shifting runes in the same column upward. So you can actually put stuff on the bottom of the board with this particular card, which is really nice. Ultimately, the main goal of this particular board is to send your minions out there and collect your opponent's acorns on their half of the board. The acorns are going to be kind of listed from 1 to 3 value in points, but be careful. There's also going to be some snowflakes hidden underneath there that are not worth points, as well as some traps. So your minions are going to want to watch out for those. So once you've collected those, your opponent's acorns, you're going to bring them back up, and you're going to take them up to the top of this tower, top of this tree, and you're going to drop them into the top of that tree. So what's going to happen symbolically is you're going to then take those tiles that you've dropped in and put them over on the matching board. The matching board is this tree. So when you pop them over there, they're going to drop onto the main board. Now that's really where the points are going to come from. What you want to do is you want to get as many of your opponent's acorns as possible in the tree so they drop down onto the matching board. Once they're there, you want to match them up as fast as possible, and that's your victory points. That's the way you win the game. Collect acorns, put them in the matching board, get 3 of them next to each other, collect those points. And the snowflakes that you're going to drop in there are also going to act as wilds. So for instance, if you had a snowflake, and an acorn, you can collect all 3 of those, and you get the points for the acorns. The snowflakes also kind of act as a timer for the end of the game. At the bottom of the matching board, there's a spot for 4 different snowflakes. Once 4 different snowflakes have been matched up, that's going to trigger the end of the game. Whereas the most amount of their opponent's acorn points at the end of the game wins.
I really enjoyed the artwork to this game, so much so that I kind of wished it was a graphic novel. Like if I had seen this at work, I work at a library. If I had seen this at work come through, I'd be like, "What's this about?" And all of the woodland creatures just going after each other. But it was done really, really well, and it was quaint, but also kind of mean and scary, but it was just intriguing. So I really liked the art and how it kind of brought me into the world that was being created.
I love how this whole game is kind of driven by this match 3 mechanism. It's kind of this Candy Crush mechanism, I call it. It has the gravity pulling things down. You're going to line up 3 in a row. If you're really good, you can get 4 or even 5 in a row, which is going to give you some extra benefits as well. I just kind of like that mechanism, right? You don't see that in board games a lot because gravity, you can't really demonstrate gravity unless you do something like what they did. I thought that was pretty cool. When you match up your own pieces, you're going to be able to use those in order to fuel your actions later on. And if you're able to make a match out of your opponent's pieces, you can take those out of the board basically. So there's not going to be available for them to make matches later on. So it's kind of good both ways. You want to be able to make your own actions happen, but at the same time you want to stop them from being able to make their actions happen.
I also thought it was really neat how the minions populated that board, how there's these 2 stacks and they just come out from those stacks. Go, go. And there are rules and placements that you can do, a bird can, put somebody somewhere, which makes sense. But I just kind of liked how it sort of swarmed the board, like a wormhole style. They're all coming from the one place. And I just really liked how that was populated.
I loved the action resolution in this game. It's just so smooth, right? You had 3 actions on your turn when you're working on the one board, on the matching board. And you did 1, 2, 3, flip them all over. But then on the back side is the actions that you wanted to do for the next other board. So the other person's taking their turn, they're doing the same exact thing. They're taking those 3 turns, flipping their cards over, and as they're doing that, they're readying themselves for the next round. And then it's your turn. Now you're doing all your actions over here. It's just so smooth. It kind of works cyclically, just kind of around and around, flipping those cards over, readying yourself for the next round as you're playing the current round. I thought it was very smooth. There's no cleanup rounds. There's no kind of awkward phase where you had to stop and tabulate things or whatever it was. It just kind of kept on flowing, which is really nice.
So overall, I really wanted to like this game. When we got it out of the box, when we were setting up, it just looked so cool. Like I said, I really liked the artwork, and I really wanted a story there. I wanted to know what was happening. I was immediately engaged, and the rulebook immediately took me out of that engagement numerous times. The way it was displayed and the artwork and how everything looked, it was so cool that I thought I was immediately going to like it, but I couldn't get immersed into the game because we kept having, and not just trying to figure out what this symbol means and trying to memorize the symbology, but just not understanding what this means at all the time. And it really took me out of the game, unfortunately.
I thought the table presence of this game was really cool. I love the big, tall structure of this tree and how it functioned in the game. I like the 2 different boards and how they interacted together, along with how the actions flowed together. I thought this had a great kind of idea behind it, and the table presence looks so cool, and the world building behind it all. But at the end of the day, that rulebook was pretty rough. Honestly, it was pretty painful to try to learn. That first play should have been, a quick, introductory game.
Yeah.
It took forever. We're trying to find any resources we could to try to make it better, and it was really, really long and drawn out. And then subsequent plays were kind of tainted by that experience as well. Even though we kind of had clicked at that point, it still was it was not smooth.
Yeah.
Learning it.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching it. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. If you enjoyed what you saw, consider leaving us a tip. There's a link down below with information about that. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.